Hi friends, welcome back to Maths Simplified. You might have seen questions like in an AP the sum of 3 terms, sum of 4 terms, or in an AP there are 5 terms. In such cases, you might be thinking of taking terms like A plus D, A plus 2D, A plus 3D and so on. But there is a convenient method or the easiest way of selecting or expressing terms in such cases. Today in this video, we are moving on to that concept. Here, if the number of terms is 3, we will be taking terms like A minus D, A plus D. So can you guess the common difference here? The common difference here is D. Now, suppose the number of terms is 4. The terms we are going to choose is A minus 3D, comma, here the common difference will be 2D. So A minus 3D plus 2D will give you A minus D. Here A minus D plus 2D will give you A plus D. And again A plus D plus 2D will give you A plus 3D. Now in the case of 5 terms, we are going to take terms like A minus 2D, here the common difference is D. So A minus 2D plus D will give you A minus D, comma, A minus D plus D will give you A, and then A plus D and A plus 2D. So we need to memorize this kind of terms when questions like number of terms 3, 4 or 5 are being asked. So to memorize, you will have to just understand the common difference and so that you can write it by yourself. So in the case of 3 terms, the common difference is D. So if you know the first term, you can create the next terms. In the case of 4 terms, the common difference is 2D. In the case of 5 terms, the common difference is again just D. So now let's see some examples where we apply them. Let's move on to the first example. The sum of 3 numbers in an AP is 12 and sum of their cubes is 288 and find the numbers. So in this question you might have seen there are 3 numbers. So the terms are A minus D, A plus D. So as per the first condition, it is given the sum of 3 numbers is 12. So you can write A minus D plus A plus D is equal to 12. So here you can cancel minus D and plus D. So A plus A will give you 12. So 3A is equal to 12. Now what is A? A is 4. So now let us move on to the second condition. Sum of their cubes is 288. That is, instead of A, I am going to substitute as 4. So what will be the terms be? 4 minus D, 4 plus D. So sum of their cubes is given as 288. So 4 minus D the whole cube plus 4 cube plus 4 plus D the whole cube is equal to 288. Okay. So what is A minus B the whole cube and A plus B the whole cube? So let's revise that here. A minus B the whole cube is equal to A cube minus B cube minus 3AB into a minus b. A plus b the whole cube is equal to a cube plus b cube plus 3ab into a plus b. So here we are applying the identity. So here 4 minus d the whole cube, you will apply the identity given there. That is 4 cube minus d cube minus 3 into 4 into d, that is 12d into 4 minus d, plus 4 cube is 64, plus again applying the identity, that is 4 cube plus d cube plus 12d into 4 plus d is equal to 288. Now we are going to open the bracket. Here 4 cube is 64 minus d cube minus 48d plus 12d square plus 64 plus again 64 plus d cube plus 48d plus 12d square is equal to 288. Now we will check if there are any like terms. You can see minus d cube and plus d cube can be cancelled. Is there any other? Here you have negative 48d and positive 48d. Now you don't have any more cancellations. Now what is 64 plus 64 plus 64? So it gives you 64 plus 64 is 128 plus again 64 plus 12d square plus 12d square will give you 24d square is equal to 288. Now this becomes 192 plus 24d square is equal to 288. Now 24d square is equal to, I am going to transpose positive 192 to the other side. So it becomes 288 minus 192. So here 24d square becomes 96. So here d square is equal to 96 divided by 24, it is 4. So now what is d? D is equal to square root of 4. You should write plus or minus 2. Plus or minus 2. Either d can be positive 2 or it can be negative 2. So when d is positive 2, you should find the numbers. And when d is negative 2, you should find the numbers. So let's see that. So you got a is equal to 4 and d is equal to plus or minus 2. So when d is positive 2, the numbers are, you know the numbers are a minus d, a plus d. So that is 4 minus 2, 4 plus 2. That is 2, 4, 6. Now if d is equal to negative 2, the numbers are, you will write it as 4 minus negative 2, 4 plus negative 2. So here 4 minus and minus becomes plus. So 4 plus 2, 4 minus 2. That is 6, 4 and 2. So the numbers are, when d is equal to positive 2, 2, 4, 6. When d is equal to negative 2, the numbers are 6, 4 and 2. Now let's move on to the next example. The angles of a triangle are in AP. The least being half the greatest, find the angles. So how many angles does a triangle have? 3 angles. So how will you take the terms? That's right. A minus D, A plus D. So we are going to take the angles as A minus D, A plus D. Can you tell me which is the least angle or the smallest angle? A minus D will be the smallest and A plus D will be the greatest. So it is given that the least being half the greatest, which means A minus D is half of A plus D. Now, the angles of a triangle are in AP. We also know the angle sum property of a triangle. You know the sum of the 3 angles in a triangle gives you 180 degree. So, you will write it as A minus D plus A plus D equal to 180 degree. So here this minus D and plus D gets cancelled. So what is A plus A gives you? It is 3A is equal to 180 degree, which implies A is equal to 60 degree. Now look at the condition given in the question. The least being half the greatest. That is, the least one is A minus D is equal to half the greatest. The greatest is A plus D. You are taking the half of it. So here, instead of A, I am going to write it as 60 degree. So 60 minus D is equal to 60 plus D divided by 2. Now I am going to cross multiply. So it becomes 120 minus 2D is equal to 60 plus D. So when you are going to bring 60 this side and negative 2D to the other side, it becomes 60 is equal to 3D. So D will be equal to 60 divided by 3, which is equal to 20. So now you got A and D. Now you can find the angles. So the angles are A minus D, that is 60 minus 20, comma A, that is 60, comma A plus D, that is 60 plus 20. So the angles are 40 degree, 60 degree and 80 degree. Now let's move on to the last example. Divide 56 in 4 parts in AP such that the ratio of product of first and fourth terms to the product of second and third term is 5:6. So here you can see 4 parts. So you need to make it as 4 terms. We are going to divide 56 into 4 terms. As we know, if the number of terms is 4, the common difference is 2D. I hope you remember. So how will you take the terms as? You will take the terms as A minus 3D. Since the common difference is 2D, A minus 3D plus 2D, it is A minus D. A minus D plus 2D is A plus D and A plus 3D. So, when you divide 56 into 4 parts and when you combine all the 4 parts, you should get 56. Which means when you add all the 4 parts, you will get 56. So, I am going to add all the 4 terms. A minus 3D plus A minus D plus A plus D plus A plus 3D is equal to 56. So here you can cancel minus D and plus D and minus 3D and plus 3D. So what is A plus A plus A plus A gives you? 4a. So 4a is equal to 56, which means a is equal to 56 divided by 4, which is equal to 14. Now look at the next condition. The ratio of product of first and fourth terms. So here the first term is a minus 3d and the fourth term is a plus 3d. So here we are going to take it as a ratio. So the numerator is a minus 3d into a plus 3d divided by the product of second and third term, that is a minus d into a plus d. So here, before you move on, you should apply an identity here. Which is that identity? You know a plus b into a minus b is equal to a square minus b square. So here we are going to apply that. So it becomes, this is equal to 5 by 6. So after you apply the identity, you will cross multiply and get the value of d. So let's do it. So here a minus 3d into a plus 3d will give you a square minus 3d the whole square divided by a minus d into a plus d will give you a square minus d square, which is equal to 5 by 6. Now we are going to cross multiply. So it becomes 6a square minus 3d square is 9d square. So 6 into 9 is 54d square is equal to 5a square minus 5d square. So 5a square you can move on to the LHS, and negative 54d square you can move on to the RHS. So it becomes 6a square minus 5a square is equal to negative 5d square plus 54d square. So here it becomes a square is equal to 49d square. So you know a is 14. So 14 square is equal to 49d square. That is d square is equal to 196 divided by 49, which is equal to 4. So d will be equal to plus or minus 2. Now we need to take two cases. So if d is equal to positive 2, you should find the parts, and when d is equal to negative 2, you should find the parts. So let's do that. So here we have taken the terms as a minus 3d, a minus d, a plus d and a plus 3d. So here when d is equal to 2 and a is 14, the parts will be 14 minus 3 into 2, comma 14 minus 2, 14 plus 2, 14 plus 3 into 2. So you will get it as 14 minus 6, that is 8, 12, 16 and then 20. Here when d is negative 2 and a is 14, the parts will be 14 minus 3 into negative 2, comma 14 minus negative 2, 14 plus negative 2 and 14 plus 3 into negative 2. So this will be 14 minus 3 into negative 2. So 14 plus 6, 20, 16, 12 and 8. So the parts are 8, 12, 16 and 20. So friends, I hope the concept of choosing or selecting terms in an AP is clear for you. So rather than taking terms like A plus D, A plus 2D, A plus 3D, etc., there is a convenient method of selecting terms, and that's what we learned today. There are formulas for finding sum of terms in an AP, and it will be shown in a separate video. So till then, bye.